Welcome, Badass Manifester. I am so glad you are here. I'm your host and head coach, Ashley Gordon, master mindset and manifestation biz expert, founder of the Quantum Coaching certification, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur obsessed with empowering you to create quantum leaps in your energy, your life, and your business. This is the show to help you make magic your everyday normal, where the ripple effect is real and the guest experts are world class. My mission is to power your conscious and subconscious mind with manifestation teachings, business tools, and coaching techniques to put your potential into action. Consider this your weekly up level. Are you ready for quantum transformation? Let's do this. Jenna, I'm so excited to chat with you.
I'm so excited to be here and honored. So thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Thanks for being at the same event that I was at in Ohio. We're at Summit of Greatness. That's where we met at Lewis Howell's event.
Yes, which was such a special event because it was the first event my husband Isaac and I attended together. So you kind of like got the little picture of us experiencing an event together, which has been really special of changing the trajectory of our relationship.
Oh my gosh, we can dive into that too. And it was so cute because I kept like looking back at you guys and being like, oh, like so fun that you guys are doing this together and growing together and really just submerging yourself together. Because I know you're a mama, you have two boys,
Yes.
and you are literally the perfect example of someone that definitely is listening right now, who wants to take a huge leap and change their life and maybe doesn't know how, but you're the example of someone who not just did a 180, but a 360 in your entire life over the last few years of being someone who was working in as a PA, doing surgeries, orthopedics, coaching at a collegiate level for soccer. And now you have a beautiful business. You and your husband are both entrepreneurs, and you've left all of that behind.
Yeah.
And yet use it to like move you forward in your business. So I would just love to
Absolutely.
will you just give everyone a little snapshot of your journey to kind of show like the contrast?
Yeah, for sure. And it's really important, whether I'm speaking on a podcast or on a stage or serving a community, and I'm sure you can relate. It's like, it's so important for me to drop into my story before sharing anything tactical or anything, because I believe that everybody's story has its own gold within it and no two stories are the same. And when I really look at mine, it was like, if you look up anything with me, it's like fast action. And I'm really a big believer. And like when I really feel into something, I just go for it. It's the athlete in me. And so a year ago, 2 years ago, my life looked very differently. I grew up, I was raised by a single mom. I checked the boxes. I was like the bowl cut haircut, little tomboy that like wanted to be the best at everything, athletics, academics. And I really found my self-worth in that, my value. And so I was valedictorian in high school. I got a full ride to play Division I college soccer. I wanted to be in medicine and I loved the role of an orthopedic PA because sports orthopedics PA, I could still be a mama. I knew I wanted to do that. And so my life for a long time looked of like achieve, 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 perform, perform, perform. We hear high performer, high achiever. I'm sure you have a ton of them listening right now. And I knew at the age of 16 that I wanted to be a mom, that I wanted to get married, that I wanted to be in medicine, all of those things. And so I just kept climbing that ladder, like I said, and checking the boxes. And so I went on to be an orthopedic PA, and I was an orthopedic PA for the largest orthopedic group here in Ohio. I live in Columbus, Ohio. Worked for the president of the company, like amazing job, like loved my job. I was in surgery half the time. I was in office half the time, had a great schedule. I was coaching college soccer, as you said, which to me as a young girl growing up, if I could be an orthopedic PA and college soccer coach at the same time, literally like my dream made while being a mom after struggling with infertility, married to my best friend. He's the most amazing man. And so I give all these little like bullet points in my life because not that long ago, my life, those were all my titles. That's where like extrinsically people looked at me and were like, you were crushing it. I mean, I made six figures at the age of 23.
Wow.
And I was, I was the person living the life that I wanted at a very young age. But I got to this point actually when I was like in my early 30s. I was sitting at my kitchen island and I said to my husband at that time, which I was so blessed, right? I think that we get this twisted a lot of times that you can't be grateful and want more. And I certainly was in that mindset of for a long time. And I sat there and I said, Isaac, to my husband, I'm like, this cannot be it. Like I'm so blessed with everything that we have. I remember asking God, like when we struggled with secondary infertility, like just give us another kid and I won't ask for anything again. Like, I'm so fixated on that. But I had the kids, I had the house, I had the job, I had the marriage, I had everything. And I was like, this isn't it. And so I
Mm.
got really curious at that point. What does that look like? What is missing from my life at this time? And what was missing was the cadence of life. I say, I woke up in my house while it was dark. My kids were asleep. I went into the OR and I didn't see them in the morning. Or the days that I did go in the office, it was like the hustle morning. And I knew I just wanted to free myself of the hustle in the morning. I wanted to walk my kids to and from school. I wanted to go on field trips. I wanted to be able to have coffee on the back porch with Isaac. I knew I wanted all these things that we can go into later. But at that point, I got really, really curious. Okay, you, Jenna, will not have those things if you stay a PA, even though you like it, right? So I knew
Even
as a
though it was your
college,
dream.
yeah. And I knew as a college soccer coach, I loved the impact I had on the young women I was coaching, but I wasn't going to do that forever because I had my own tiny humans that needed me at those hours. And so I started a podcast in early 2022, not knowing whatever. I just wanted to use my voice, put it out there. I was blessed that it took off. It opened doors for me, relationships, opportunities. I started my business from there that we'll talk about, that. But like right now, as I sit, I am a growth and mental edge coach for women. I have built this business. I have more than doubled my PA salary. My husband's left his teaching career. He's doing different streams of entrepreneurship and real estate investing and agent, and he has cleaning businesses. And we are just like living, like you said, a completely different life. But the important thing is that not long ago, our mindset, which is the biggest thing we all know, our mindset was a very different, and we never thought we could have the life that we live now.
Wow. What? Well, I feel like some part of you must have known that it was possible.
Yeah, I am a confident person, and confidence is a skill, and I say that, growing up as little girls, I think that the conceited word was used, and I didn't I didn't say that with the conviction that I say it now. I'm a confident person. I've worked hard to be confident, right? It's a skill that I've dropped a lot of deposits in that bucket over the years. So I always knew that I was capable deep down,
Right.
that I was capable of anything that I set my mind to and work to. But I spent a lot of time, energy, and money becoming a PA. And it was a quote unquote, I say prestigious, successful job that there was obviously a lot of fear from external
Yeah.
factors and
Right.
people.
What
Yeah,
they would think of you to leave such a job.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Going back to something you mentioned when you were younger and you like always knew when you were 16, you were like, this is what I've worked for, and you accomplished it quickly. What was that drive in you, like you said, to be the best? Like not everybody has that in them innately. Like what drove you in that way?
Yeah, it's funny. Isaac and I talk a lot about reflecting on the furthest back that we can remember why we think that we thought that way, or why we think that we were made up how we are. And
Mhm.
to me, when I think back on my story, my parents got divorced when I was 3. My sister was 5. My biological father was an alcoholic and abusive. And my mom was a teacher. She was a single mom teacher that made $9,000, $7,000 her first year teaching. I don't know, it was wild. So we lived very much paycheck to paycheck. And I remember as a young girl, just like snippets, my mom's wonderful, but like knowing like at some points that like it wasn't easy, right? Like she was really struggling at points. And so I think that I knew genetically I had an athletic gift and that could alleviate some financial burden in the future. Um, and so I think as a little girl, it was just the drive came from wanting to take care of, always be
Yeah.
able to take care of myself and not rely on anybody else. And also, honestly, like just take off any pressure from my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so relatable. I felt that way too. I don't know why I felt that way at such a young age. Like, I just want to take care of my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way that you're looking, it seems like you like didn't realize that before. I don't know. You're
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. It's a really, really good question. People, it's easy for me to say the athlete in me is what drives the entrepreneur Jenna now. It's easy
right.
to say the athlete Jenna is what made me so successful as a PA because there's so many parallels
Yes.
athletics to life, the skills that you build, the resiliency, all of it, right? But when you take me back to like little Jenna, like you just did, and you said like innately, what was that drive within you? I don't know, because our memory is an interesting thing. Like you block things out, you have to go
Yeah.
back and dig deep, and sometimes it's question marks, but they're really good questions to search. And that's the best. That's like the best answer that I had for you when you said
Yeah.
that because and it does. It makes me kind of like tilt my head and be like, huh, I wonder if I wanted to protect my mom more than I thought, you know?
Yeah. Right. It it's really interesting. I mean, I'm grateful for our moms who like did everything that they could to get us what we needed, but they like my mom also was paycheck to paycheck, always just having enough to get by. And that definitely is a big part of why I am the way I am, for sure.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Like one, I never wanted to be like that. Two, I always wanted to take care of her. It's just interesting how it like plays a role into who we become if we allow it to, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. So what a journey it's been for you. And like, wow, 2023 was an amazing year for you. I guess my question in great success also comes a great challenges at times. So I'm curious, like, what was your hardest lesson of 2023 over the last year?
Oh, yeah. Wow. Still going through this, right? I mean, it's something that a lot of my mentors and people that have been entrepreneurs longer than me told me. And it's that the relationship factor of some people are in your life for reasons, some people are in your life for seasons. You will grief the prior version of not only yourself, but you will grief who she was associated with, who she had relationships with. And I was like, just like anything in life, I mean, you go back to fertility. I knew people struggled with infertility, but until it was my story, it wasn't as like, oh, in my face and like gut wrenching. So that's been the biggest struggle. And it was the biggest struggle in 2023 because here's the confident Jenna gave herself 1 year to go all in. So the money, I had to do a lot of money mindset. So like, yes, money's scary. And I'm not saying that like, oh, it's just easy and that wasn't a stressor, but like I feel like that's like the obvious answer or would have been the obvious answer for me before, like the money struggle, the figuring it out. I didn't
Right.
really self-doubt myself, to be honest with you, because I do a lot of work and I have for years around the confidence. Like I really trust that I'll figure it out. I trust God has me. I trust the unfolding of it all. But what's been the hardest is the realization that not everybody's going to get it. And even though you view life a certain way and you feel like you would be happy and support people, it doesn't mean that everybody in your life is going to do that. And what I know now is like, yeah, and I don't fault them. I love them, but it's hard. It's still like I can say that. I can say like I know I'm not like I can't control anybody or like have them come to my events or support me or understand what I'm doing. Because I've had some people that automatically thought this new journey that I'm taking, it means that I judge them or I look at them different. And they're people that I've loved my whole life. And it's like, I've not, what I realize is I've not done anything. That's their own perspective, right? Because all I control is my intention. That's been the hardest thing, knowing that not like the grieving a prior version of myself, that's a little bit hard, but it's more so grieving the life, the relationship the prior version of myself had with people, and knowing that not everybody's coming with me in the new season of life.
Ooh, that is such a good share and such a truth to growth in and of itself. Um, w was that one of your fears making this transition? Was like losing people, or was it just something that happened that you actually didn't anticipate?
People told me, but I didn't anticipate it be my story.
Yeah,
My fear was one person. It was my mom. It was not that it was just to disappoint her or to cause her stress. She was my hardest phone call when I decided that I wanted to leave being a PA, because you go back to we live paycheck to paycheck. Her little
yeah.
baby girl had become a PA, which was like, oh my
Made
goodness,
it. You
like
made it.
I made more money than my mom's ever made in her life at the age of 23, right? Like, and I say that just like perspective on that phone call to my mom, telling her at that point, I didn't have a thriving business. I hadn't made money in business. I hadn't netted money, right? And I was not only giving up my PA paycheck, the security, the safety. I had two small humans. We had just redone our home, put an addition on. We had bills. We had like life, right? Like all this stuff. So my mom's brain, I knew, would go to that. So what I said to her in that moment was, just when I called her, Mom, I know you've been so proud of me for so many reasons, my life. This is the proudest I've been in myself. And
Oh, wow.
I do not need you to save me. I need you to hear me say that. Like, Isaac and I have this. We will figure it out. I am so blessed to have the best partner in life with my husband. Like, we will figure it out. But I really needed to say that to my mom. Like, it is not your job to save me. So that to me was what my fear was, that phone call. Losing people, no.
I
But
wait, hold on. I got to go back to that with your mom for a second because that's so powerful to say, I don't need you to save me. But before that, even, this is the proudest I've been of myself. Like,
Mhm.
whoa. What was her reaction? I'm so curious.
Yeah, she was quiet. My mom, my sister, and I all are very vocal people, but she was quiet in that moment. And I knew, right? She was just weighing her words because she didn't agree with me.
Yeah.
Like, she did not think that was the right decision for me. But again, she didn't understand. She didn't know the work I was doing. She doesn't know this world, right? Our parents grow up in very traditional jobs that you like, a teacher, medicine, law, like there's like these jobs that, so she didn't understand. And so she said to me, okay, honey, I just hope you know what you're doing. And she didn't really say much else on that. Now, I will say, I called my sister then and I said, I need you to help, or I'm asking you to help me bring mom along on this journey with me as I'm building, so she sees how important this is to me and the work that I'm doing and the impact that I'm making. And then when I do make money, we celebrate. So she sees, oh my gosh, this is her career. She can make money
Yeah.
in this,
Right.
because she didn't have that context. She knew I had a lot to give. She listens to my podcast. She's watched me speak before. She's seen me as a soccer coach. She knows I'm a wonderful mentor. She believes in me, but she didn't know that there was money out there doing that.
Right. Right. Of course. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And how important to you is your mom's approval of your journey? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like paramount, one being like, ah, take it or leave it.
At the time that I left, it would have I would have told you it was a 9.
Yeah.
Now the work that I've done and I have a total different perspective on life and relationships and myself, everything. Um, I really mean this, and it's not a slight. My mom, outside of my two sons and my husband, is the most important person in my life. but like low, like less than 5 now. But that's anybody. Honestly, that's anybody. And there's a lot that goes into why I say that.
Wow, that's really powerful. I think that on the growth, like going through such a transition, number one, sharing that with your mom and your sister and getting like letting people know this move that you're making, and then having this banner year that you've had, right? Like this unbelievable year that a lot of people can't relate to, I would
Yeah.
say. Like a lot of people start their business and they don't double the salary that they had before, which we can get into in a second. Where was I going with that? Um, oh, just that like I remember feeling like, oh man, I have to put a lot of pressure on myself to like prove myself.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way, like jumping off the
Oh yeah. So a little bit more context. So I told you I started my podcast at the beginning of 2022. What I didn't tell you is I'm not sure what happened in the beginning of 2022 to like obviously I was still a college soccer coach, still an orthopedic PA, a mom, a wife, all the things. And through 2022, I listened to podcasts obviously, and I had never really been to many events outside of like my area or athletics or things like that. But there was an event at the end of October in 2022 that I that I told my husband that I'm like, I think I have to go to this event. And I'm like, I don't know why I have to go to this event. It meant me buying a plane ticket. It meant me buying a hotel room, going. I didn't know anybody in it. But my point in saying this is because I went to that event. The date was October 21st to the 23rd. And I tell you this again, like go along on this journey if you're listening with me. October 21st, 23rd, I sat in that room at that event. Amazing speakers, amazing event. Nobody said anything though that I hadn't necessarily heard before in some way or another, but that's how it is, right? It's just when it
yeah.
hits and then what meaning you give it and then everything. But in that moment, I said, you know what, Jenna? And I wrote it down in my journal. I was like, you want your life to change, you have to change. Simple as change what you think, change what you're doing. So I left that event and I said to my sister and Isaac, because the event was in Arizona, my sister lives in Arizona and they picked me up. And I said, I don't know what this means, but our life is never going to be the same. And we had our kids on that trip. So Isaac and I didn't dive into it much at that time, but Isaac was like, oh shit. Because he knows. He's like, oh my gosh, when she says something, she means it. I'm an Enneagram 8. And so we get home the next day. We had to fly home. Our kids are sleeping across us on the plane. Isaac's like dying to know what this means, that our life's never going to be the same. And we put the kids to bed that night, sit on the back porch. And I said to him, babe, I think I need to leave my job. I had not netted money in my business. I was the breadwinner in our family. And I said, I think I need to leave my job to create the business that I want to create. And he's
Wow.
like, okay. He's like, and because he knew there was more. And I was like, and I need to do it by the end of the year. So 6 weeks from that date, I needed to leave my job. And I didn't have, we weren't trust fund babies. We don't have a big savings account. This is important for me to tell you if you're listening. We didn't have a bunch of money just sitting places. And I was the breadwinner. So to answer your question, why I give that context is because, yes, I said that. And then the words my husband said back to me are words I say all the time. He said, Jenna, if I were to bet on anybody in this world, it would be you. He gave
Oh,
me his full, like, talk about somebody that I
I want to
do, like,
cry.
yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's go time. Like, I said thank you, but I also was like, okay, I have to give my boss notice. I'm leaving at the end of the year. What does
Wow.
this mean? So yes, I felt pressure because I had 2 kids at home. I was the breadwinner. I was leaving my job with a 6-week notice and had not been making a lot of money. So I felt pressure. But again, I go back to me as an athlete. I thrive under pressure, right? I'm an
Right.
Enneagram 8, and that's not everybody. If you're listening to this, and this is what I tell my clients, right? It's really important to know yourself, human design, Enneagram type, whatever it is, because Enneagram 8s, we're like back against the wall. Let's go. So I knew I had to put myself in that situation to have the rapid growth that I've experienced and that I wanted to have.
Wow. 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 I'm like so emotional from your story. This is so good. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. So now that you look back and you're like, I fucking did it, are you thinking like, how am I going to do this again? Or are you like, no, I got this?
Both,
Okay.
right? Both. But what I don't, so everybody has them, right? Nobody's exempt from the self-doubt or all the thoughts or all the emotions. Nobody's exempt, but it's what you sit in. So I choose not to sit in the, oh my
Mm.
goodness, how am I going to top 2023, right? Like I choose to like sit in the let's go, like game time.
Yes.
Like I'm going
Game
to
time.
do this. And I remember like having just this like vision. I have all my best like thoughts when I'm walking or when I'm in the shower. And I had this like thought when I was in the shower of just like what I'm going to make in 2024, what's going to happen. And I don't even know how it is, but I like text two people when I got out of the shower. And I was like, this is happening in 2024, you know? And I've done that with everything. And there is such a power, which I know you believe in. Like, there's such a power in the subconscious mind, how we think, what we tell ourselves, what we say out loud, how we bring people in. And then obviously you need the action, but then the action. So I'm just very much of when I think something or when I feel it, I put it out because then that pushes me and actually
Yeah.
puts the pressure on me to then do the action. And that's my process, right? I think, I feel, I tell, I do. And I
Mm.
just like keep
Love that.
repeating that. And so no, I know I'm going to top 2023, but where people get caught up in, well, the how doesn't worry me. I don't know how. I do not know how, but I'm going to. And I trust three things. I trust myself. I trust God's greater plan for me. And I trust the unfolding of everything, that every yes, every no, every opportunity, every open door, closed door happens for me. And
Mm.
that, when you reframe and you change your mindset to that, you'll keep going.
So, so, so potent. So powerful. What would you say is like, what are you bringing energetically into? Because I want to talk about fast action and the mental edge, because I feel like this kind of goes really well into it. Because you were just saying that, yeah, like once you get that idea, you say it out loud and you just you move, you keep
Yeah.
going for that. So what are you energetically bringing into 2024? Like, what's your energy for 2024? And how what does that action look like, and how can you help other people understand how to take that for themselves, like the fast action and having the mental edge on what you want to create?
Oh, great question. Just writing down so my brain doesn't lose it, right? Electric keeps coming up for me. I don't put pressure on myself to have a word of the year. Like I even have a client that like, I'm like, quit putting pressure on yourself. And now she has like a web. I'm like, whatever feels good to you. Electric keeps coming up for me. So like energy wise, like I feel like I'm bringing in this electric energy, but I'll dissect that more. My science brain uses dissect. Um, at the end of 2023, again, I'm always giving context. At the end of 2023, I made a big decision for my business, especially where I'm at. And then I decided to post it on social media because I'm like, I don't talk about money that much, but people want people to talk about money, and I want to do it more because it's the real. Um, I refunded $24,000
Mm.
that was in my bank account. And $24,000, if you're listening to this, is $24,000 to me. Like I'm not a multimillionaire. So like that, but here's why I say that. You know what that did to me? So the reason I did that, Ashley, is because there was something I thought I was going to do at the beginning of 2024 that I was really excited about. And I had one-on-one conversations for. I had some people pay, some other people commit. And I got to a point that I was just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that in 2024 because it's going to take 6 months, and like that's energetically not where I want to like serve through. That was a big step for me, a huge step in entrepreneurship. I remember telling my mentor and some friends, and they're like, oh, this is another like pivotal moment in you as an entrepreneur to be able to give that amount of money back. And I share that because so what I knew in that moment and what I've told my clients and a lot of people is like, I I practiced what I preached, right? Like I trusted myself in that moment that that wasn't for me. And if I gave that up and I freed up the time in the space, that something better and bigger and more aligned would come. I don't know what that is yet. right? I don't know what that is. That's still a space for me in this year. So this energy coming into 2024, it's electric. But what I mean by that is like, I just feel so aligned and
Yeah.
alive and excited and like ready to like walk through that door that opens. And I don't know what it is yet. Like I know parts of my business, but I don't know this other part of my business. And so that's the energy that I'm bringing into 2024 right now, is just like so in integrity with myself and in alignment and excited for the opportunities and the open doors to come, because I know they are. And then those are going to be so expansive for me because in my business in ways that I don't even know yet, right? Like I don't even know. I'm just getting started on all of this. And so you asked about what's the action look like as far as like the fast action and the mental edge, which are two things that I coach on and I talk about all the time. To me, really fast action means that you're doing something, right? Sometimes action can be stillness, and people get that, okay, that's weird, right? But it's just, again, I go back to the cadence of your business, the cadence of life, the cadence of you as a person. It's like, to me, I'm always challenging myself to do something new, right? That I'm not just like complacent in my day. My days don't look the same. My weeks don't look the same. Like I have time blocking, I have whatever. But to me, fast action is just saying like, okay, I feel into something. Like I said before, let me put it out or let me do it, right? Whatever one I feel like. And then here's what you know. When you do it or when you say it and you walk through the door, you know it's for you or it's not for you. And if it's for you, no, it's not perfect because you walked through it and you did it for the first time, but you know what felt good and then you know it's not. And so then you can get to what's aligned and what feels good quicker. I think that I'm married to an Enneagram 5. He, for a lot of years, was so analytical that he wasn't a doer. He wasn't taking action. He was think, learn, learn, learn. Well, to me, the greatest way to learn is action because you're actually feeling it, right? And
Mm.
so fast action is as simply as that. It is literally challenging yourself in an uncomfortable way over and over to realize if opportunities are for you or not and to feel in alignment with you to keep the momentum moving forward. And you go to like the mental edge piece of that. I do believe everybody has a mental edge, just like I believe everybody has a next level inside of you always, right? I view life as like, we're on this platform, there's this bridge, you make yourself really uncomfortable, you're wobbling, then you get to this next platform, and you're constantly going to that next bridge and it's growing and evolving. But the importance of locking into your mental edge is the mental edge that you have is your ability to focus and remain poised under pressure. We've talked about pressure, so it goes perfectly in that, right? It's the ability to find that extra gear when it's needed most over and over, whether that's in athletic competition, whether that's in business. But to me, I trained, athletics was my way of training and constantly tapping into my mental edge, but we all have it, right? It's
Yeah.
just unlocking that. And that's the same thing with the next level. You have it. It's just unlocking it. And sometimes, we get in a position that we've pushed it down for so long that it's harder to unlock. But every single person listening to this, you have a mental edge, you have a next level, and it's what really gets me jazzed and fired up.
I could tell. And I admire that so much because you embody that so fully that you speak to it so effortlessly because it's just part of who you are, you know? So
Thank you.
that is very electric. And just to go back to what you shared about um the wait, what was it? It was the story of the pressure. No. Oh, I lost it. It'll come back. But wow, you share so beautifully about stepping into this and the fast action piece. What would you say is the number one thing that gets people in the way from taking that movement?
Judgment of yourself, judgment from others, or money.
Yeah.
100%. Like to
Well,
me,
the money thing, that's what it was.
oh,
That you refunded all that money. I wanted to just touch on that too, because that is like so
yeah, we've heard, if you're listening to this podcast, unless it's your first podcast episode that you've ever listened to, I'm sure you've heard the word scarcity mindset versus abundant mindset, and you choose to live in one, right? There's not like this in between. It's like, to me, I am constantly working to keep in my abundant mindset because what I knew, if I was in a scarcity mindset, I would hold on to that $24,000. I would have done that thing that I had that I thought I was going to do. And energetically, there would have been such a mismatch, which I would have not been serving my people like in that electric energy that I know that I bring to everything that's aligned for me, right? And so when you're in an abundant mindset, what I believe, I
Yeah.
give that $24,000 up. There's like $50,000 plus. There's millions waiting on me. I don't know where, but it's just like, no, that's not for me. That's little like, and I'm not ashamed to say I want a lot of money. Like that's little dollars to me. There's big money to be made over here, and I don't know how. And so it's like the money is such a reason that people don't leave jobs. It's such a
Yeah.
reason that business owners, entrepreneurs keep
It's
doing things and showing up
it stops
misaligned.
the fast action.
Yeah, and it does, and I've lived that with my husband. God love him. He's like, he allows me to like kind of mentor him in a healthy way, right? He has other mentors, but just like, all right, what are you gonna do?
I do it
Like,
too.
just
Let's
take,
be
yeah,
real.
take an action. Like, just do something. But it's like, that is literally how you gain the momentum. And here's where people ask me all the time, how? How did you speak at all those events in your first year? How'd you make that money? How do you have all these clients? Like, how? What's your background? What's all this? And I'm like, I figured it out. I didn't
Yeah.
let things stop me. And that's the piece that I will circle back to that I said before is like the Jenna a year ago gave myself at the end of 2022. I said, I'm giving myself 1 year, 2023, to go all in on my plan A, not to have a plan B, even though everybody told me and still tells me you can go back to being a PA anytime you want. And I said, yes, yes, yes. So many yeses. And ideally, they were all aligned. Some weren't, but I learned and I grew, right? But I stayed in that. We can get so caught up in so far down the future or like how much money we had to make. Like I took it month by month. I take it day by day. I knew I had to make a certain amount of money to pay my bills that first month and whatever. And I did it. And then it was like the next month I wanted to net this and the next month. And I just take it moment by moment. And so we live very much in the now versus traditional future that we never know we're going to
Yeah.
get to. Um, and I'm not scared to take action, which if you know me, you know that.
Wow. I absolutely am loving this conversation so much. I think it's so inspiring. Your story is unbelievable. It's such an amazing story and you tell it so well. And for everyone listening who really wants to step into their next level self and take this year to a whole nother level, what are your best tips to help them get into that energy, that mindset?
Yeah. So I kind of, because I got this question a lot, and then started to teach a framework that to make it as simple as I could. When I really thought back on my journey, I looked at 2023, right? Because 2024, there's a next level Jenna coming.
Yeah,
Um,
baby.
but I'm going to do these same six things
Yeah.
because it's so for me, I'm going to list them and we can dive into whichever ones that you want to. But I want to make it really clear if you're listening, if you have, I mean, pen, paper, like write it down or like if you're driving, which I listen to podcasts, I would just say like note this time of the podcast episode. So I have really six steps that I say like is stepping into the next level you and it will help you. Number one is radical honesty about what's not working.
Mm.
Number two is give yourself permission to dream into something different. So really start creating a vision for yourself, which people get hung up on and don't know how to dream
The
anymore. And I
permission
get
piece.
it. Yeah. Number three is three parts. Resource yourself, pay attention, and learn.
Mm.
Number four is challenge yourself in an uncomfortable way, and that allows you to create your new reality. Number five is stay open to opportunities and possibilities, which we talked about the doors opening for you. And number six, call in accountability and community, right? Like you're not supposed to do any of it alone. It doesn't mean that you're less than, you're not smart. Like, listen, I would say that I'm a smart person, I'm capable, but I would not be where I'm at now without mentorship, without masterminds, without amazing people in my life that have helped me along the way. And so those 6 things: radical honesty about what's not working, give yourself permission to dream into something different, resource yourself, pay attention and learn, challenge yourself in an uncomfortable way, stay open to opportunities and possibilities, and call in accountability and community.
Wow, those are amazing. What I love most about that is that it's not just like imagine that version of you and start acting like that version of you. This is like way deeper, way more self-inquiry. Of course, there is that element to it. I heard it throughout, but it's more about like digging to the root, to the core, and the uncomfortable piece, I feel like is such a huge part of this because it's not uncomfortable to just imagine yourself at that next level. It's uncomfortable to like actually put yourself in positions of taking action and asking for something and going for it.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that piece because I remember the first speaking engagement that I got in 2023, and I remember like listening to my walk-up song, and I was walking in my neighborhood. I go on walks and I had my headphones in. I was like listening to the song that I was going to walk up, and like I was kind of like, like in my zone, like really visualizing myself going up on stage, what I was going to say. And my neighbors text me and they were like, which they're all like, they're my good friends, but they were like, "Hey, you were really feeling yourself today, weren't you?" And I was like, wait, yeah, I actually was. I was really visualizing myself. And that is important, right? These are all like to really be the next level you, I do think you have to visualize yourself wearing those clothes and walking that way and saying those things and having the money and all the things. But like that's not going to get you there on its own. And so when you look at the 6 steps that I just gave you, what really stands out to me is like it takes you really being honest with yourself and making
Yeah.
yourself uncomfortable. Like when you take step 1, the radical honesty about what's not working, you can do fluff, you can do surface level. It's not going to be impactful. Like it takes you saying, "Okay, I can't have these things or I don't feel this certain way." And it makes you get really granular. And I love the step 4, the challenge yourself in an uncomfortable way. Like that is where I think is game changing. And I do these parallels with like a physical challenge, and that gives me a mental challenge, right? It's like I don't know, like that's why cold plunges are a big thing.
Yeah,
Or
for
like,
sure.
somebody's like, and this year I want to run a marathon or like triathlon, or I want to do like taekwondo, like these things. It's like the physical challenge for yourself also challenges you mentally, which then is game changing for your business because then it makes you challenge. And so there's so many parallels in that as well.
So many, so many. I mean, a lot of times when I'm reaching another level, I'm doing like a really hard workout and I'm like, I got this. And I'm talking to myself and I'm coaching myself. And like getting through that gives me that strength to kind of show up and run the other stuff.
Yeah,
And
100%. You prove that you're capable of more than we give ourselves credit for. I mean, and then it gives you that energy.
yeah,
I was being interviewed on a podcast a few weeks ago, and I shared that little snippet of like how I do those parallels, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to literally like do my workout, like go in the sauna, and then like sit at my desk and see what I can crush out because you're in that energy, you're in that work, and it's like, I mean, there's a true flow to that."
there is definitely. And now I just compare everything to like giving birth. I
Right?
can do anything.
Oh, amen. If you're a mama listening, and I just did a post about this the other night when I walked out of my boys' room because I was like looking at them and I was like thinking about everything. And I'm like, I mean, there's literally nothing. Parenthood, motherhood, like when you do that, everything that comes with that, there is nothing that you can't do.
So true.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen to that.
Amen.
Oh, this is so good. Okay. What makes Jenna a badass manifester?
Oh, good question. Oh, I don't even know. You know, when somebody asks you that question, you're like, is this supposed to be a certain way? But
Yeah.
a badass manifester, what makes me that? I mean,
I have an answer for you. I feel like
all right, yeah, give me yours. I would love to hear it.
in my observation of just everything that you've shared, really, you don't worry about the how. And that really does make you a badass manifester.
Mm,
But I want to
yeah.
let you answer that too.
No, that is good. Yeah. I don't get, yeah, I would say I don't get caught up in the how or let anything slow me down, right? I feel something and I trust that I'll make it happen, and I do make it happen. So I think when I think about manifesting and like when I look at that next level of I'm a badass manifester, I'm like, yeah, like I want something, like whether that's me wanting something and then thinking about it and feeling it and doing it, or I feel it, see it, and then I freaking go get it.
Yeah.
And I just I don't let people, money, things get in my way. And I want to put a disclaimer on this. I'm obviously not perfect. I obviously have my self-doubts. I have my ugly cries, whatever. But like I said before, it's what you sit in. And I really have done a lot of work not to sit in those emotions.
So good. So inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Where can everyone connect with you, find you, work with you, all the things?
Yeah, I would love for you to come say hi. I'd love for you to share takeaways. As podcasters, I mean, we are just sitting here rocking out, just
Yeah.
Ashley and I. But so my podcast is Next Level You. My Instagram, I hang out on Instagram. I am in my DMs. I will reply to every single one of them, is Jenna.Klopfenstein. She will spell that as well. My website's JennaKlopfenstein.com. And then if you're looking for more events to get in 2024, Next Level You Live, April 19th and 20th in Columbus, Ohio, is going to be an incredible event. If you are a visionary entrepreneur or just a high performer and you're looking to get in a room with other people like you, there's really a focus on deep connection, high level conversation, giving you the tactics, giving you the people to run with, and it's going to be incredible.
Ooh, I'm so excited. That's amazing.
Um,
Awesome. Well, I will link everything in the show notes. Thank you so much for sharing and just being such a light. I'm so excited to watch you explode this year.
Well, thank you. I feel so blessed that our paths crossed and excited
Me
for what's
too.
all in store for our relationship and then us both individually. So thank
Yes.
you.
Same, same. All right, everyone. Tag us. Let us know your biggest takeaway. We would love to hear from you, as Jenna said. And with that, keep being badass manifestors. Bye. Woo! We did some work today. Thank you so much for listening. You know I love my BAM fam. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who you know would love it too, because we live for the ripple effect over here. And how can you best support the show? Make sure you're subscribed, hit the 5 stars, and leave a review on iTunes, and let me know how the podcast has impacted you. I love being part of your real-time journey, so screenshot the episode and tag me and my guests on Instagram at Manifest with Ash. Now say it with me. I am my own power source. I am the master of my own energy, and I deserve everything that I desire. We don't just talk about it over here, we be about it. Now go get 'em.